Ladies and gentlemen, today is Thursday, August 7th, 2014. And this is the KNKL Show, episode 191. And today just so happens to be Thursday, and that means that we are going to be meditating underneath the bonsai tree, becoming like Buddha himself, and pondering one of life's many subjects. And today we're going to be talking about enjoying the little things. Enjoying the little things. And this actually comes as a very important talk, because I've noticed that probably the last few Thoughtful Thursdays have been dealing with very sort of like negative motivation, like saying, oh, you better do this or else this is gonna happen to you, right? And that's all well and good. I personally like those types of talks, those types of motivational talks, because everybody can sit around and like just talk all the, happy things and platitudes, those things that people say like, you can do it. Yeah, let's go out and take action and pursue your dream and you can do it, right? Those types of things, people just sit there like, yeah, I can do it, right? And they get that happy feeling, that little rush of excitement for like a couple days, but then it very quickly just peters out and they go back to their normal habits and ways of living. Whereas with the negative things, I really like them because they kind of like kick you in the butt, right? They remind you that, oh man, I'm not fooling anybody, much less myself. I need to get back to work on where I really want to go. But, and we've been doing plenty of that. So I think today what we're going to be talking about is a little bit more positive. More positive, might be kind of platitude-y, I don't know, platypussy. But, yeah, we're just going to get into it. So, man, I'm going to be like adjusting the light like as we do this, because we have clouds like running through Utah right now. So the light will like dim and like get brighter like out of nowhere. So anyway, but we're going to be enjoying that, right? That is one of the little things we are going to enjoy today. So one of the first things that I want to bring to the forefront right now is a quote that I've heard, and I'm sure you've heard it too. And that is, do you ever notice that people are alive, but many of them are not living? And that quote really kind of got to me a little bit, and I asked myself, how often am I just kind of stuck in this thing that people call life, but I'm not really like living it. I'm not actually like taking a second to like look around and see where I am right now, like where I've gotten myself, where my actions and my disciplines and my habits have taken me. And not just that, right? But also just like enjoying the scenery, like looking outside, opening the blinds and be like, oh wow, such a beautiful day today, like the rain on the window, things like that. I feel that people don't take enough time to just look around and enjoy those things. And I feel that when you do that, it gives you a great sense of gratitude and just like a sense of actually being alive, actually being aware and conscious of where you are right now. And I think that when you sort of push this away, that's when you start to kind of get into, I don't know, you start to accept life for what everybody else thinks it is. Or you start to kind of accept life as always jumping from one stimulation to the next. It's like, okay, well, we gotta watch this TV show, right? Because everybody's watching it. And I gotta go do this thing, and then I gotta play this video game, and then I gotta meet up with this person. We're gonna go to the bar, and we're gonna get drunk, right? Which is nothing wrong with partying every once in a while. But like some people always live their life from one stimulation to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, and then the day finally comes where nothing is there to stimulate them. They're all alone for some reason, and I always get this feeling. Whenever everybody's gone from the apartment and I'm here all by myself, I get this really weird, uncomfortable feeling. And I'm sure that many of you have experienced this feeling too, where everybody's gone from your house and you're there all alone, and you'll turn on the TV, right? So that way you can have something to distract you, or just some sort of background noise, because you don't like the quiet. You don't like the complete solitude. Something about that is very discomforting to you. And the reason why that is, I think, personally, the way that it is for me, maybe it is for you, I don't know. But the reason why that is like that is because when I'm finally in that moment of solitude, A, I can feel lonely, but B, I'm going to be forced to actually start taking a look at myself. I'm going to start doing something that's very uncomfortable, and that is actually just like looking around at everything that's around me, looking at where I am, and asking myself, am I really happy with where I am right now? And that brings up another really good point, and that is when you ask yourself if you're happy with where you are right now. I think it's a very important thing that you always find a reason to say yes. I think that there's always a reason for you to be happy where you are, and I think it's always a choice. You know, you can always wanting to be, improving your life. You can always be wanting to do that, is what I meant to say. You can always be wanting to improve your life, but I think it's very important to enjoy the little things and enjoy where you are right now in the process of what you're becoming to get where you want to go. It's another thing that I constantly say. A lot of people just, they deprive themselves of that happiness. They deprive themselves of enjoying life until they get to this point, until they reach this major goal or get this major object, right? Or it's like a new car, new job, new girlfriend, right? Whatever. And then they finally get it, and they're like, all right, now I can be happy. But what's really weird about that is that when they finally get it, they're actually not any happier than they were on the way to getting it. It might get you excited for like a few days, but that, again, it will go away, and you'll just go back to right where you were. You'll go right back to where your feelings were on the way there, because that's where your point of rest is. That's where your zone of comfort is emotionally. So, but on the other end is if you are now all alone in your house and you're taking a look around, I always like to imagine this. I always like to imagine those days when everybody is like calling me. My parents are calling, asking me to move something for them. Someone's asking me to draw some picture for them, do some logo for their business or whatever. And people are just like constantly bugging me about stuff. And I just want all of them to go away, and I want to be all alone just to do whatever the heck I want to do, right? And then I finally get it. I imagine that was what my mentality was right before I got stuck in the complete solitude of my empty apartment. And I say, oh, well, with that frame of mind, man, this is really relaxing. This is very nice. Nobody's calling me. Nobody wants anything from me. And now I can finally just be by myself and just relax. And oftentimes I'll just lay there. I'll just, another thing that I have to get comfortable with is sometimes just doing absolutely nothing. Just sitting there and just thinking, or not even thinking, just relaxing. I love to read books, while I'm just sitting there doing stuff. But I don't know. It's a really cool feeling to just sit there in the times when you're alone and just get yourself in a frame of mind that puts a positive spin on it. I think that everything can be framed positively if you really want it to be, and I think it's important that you do. Okay, so let's see here. One of the other things, speaking of enjoying the little things, is I'm amazed how often I'll be driving somewhere, right? Driving in my car, and then I'll actually just take a second and look at the sky, right? And just the gigantic clouds. I just imagine how big those things must be, right? If I were to go up and fly through them. When I went skydiving, I really wanted to jump through a cloud, but we didn't go that high. There were no clouds that were low enough so we could jump through them, so I was bummed out. But I just imagine flying through one of those, or being able to jump through one of those. And I don't know, it just gives me this sense of awe that compared to that cloud, let alone the rest of the world, I am such a small part of it. And that, my worries and my troubles and all the things that I think are going to be the end of it are really not a concern of anyone else. Nobody else cares about my problems. And then even after that point, it's they're still so minuscule and so small that I need to make sure I'm keeping that in perspective, and that I'm choosing to be happy, right? I'm choosing to be happy regardless of whatever it is I have to take care of, or whatever it is happens to me, because nobody else really cares, right? I always like to think about it this way. It's if nobody else, if 8 billion other people don't give a crap about what happens to me, right? What would happen if that one last person stopped giving a crap? What would happen if that last, I'm not saying you should let yourself go, but it's you ever notice how all the things in your life that you were worried about happening to you, or even if they do happen, you still find a way to just make it through? You still find a way to just keep living? The way I look at it is hey, for 26 years of my life, I've had problems and I've had things that I thought were going to be the end of me, and I just got through it. So even if we're thinking law of averages here, I'm still going to make it through. I'm still going to make it through. So, yeah, I just really believe that people just, humans and just people in general just have an incredible ability to adapt. They have an incredible ability to adapt to whatever circumstances are put onto them. And yeah, I just want you guys to have confidence that no matter what happens to you, you know, you're gonna make it through. You're gonna make it through. So, but yeah, take a second to, when you're driving next time, to just look at the sky, or look at, I don't know, you can look at anything. You look at a building, or look at other people. That's another thing that I really like to do. I love to enjoy, like, looking at other people and just, like, wondering what they're doing. Like, what things did they care about? And sometimes it's a really good thing, especially if you're into doing charity work. Like, it's really awesome to put somebody else's needs in front of yours for once, because that's really interesting. I feel like it just goes against that whole thing where, like, nobody else gives a crap about your problems. But as soon as that one person does, something, like, magical happens, and you're, like, rewarded for it. The person that does the charitable work is rewarded for that, you know, whether it's the giving of their money or the giving of their time. You know, they feel great about themselves, and I think that it's designed that way for a reason. We're supposed to feel good when we sort of go against what is naturally born in us, and that is to just care about ourselves. So, let's see here. So yeah, I want to urge you guys that, I mean, especially for artists, right? Me, prime example. Example number one, right? 90% of my life is spent right here in this chair, drawing something for Riot, or, I mean, that's supposed to be a secret. You didn't hear that. I mean, working on the comic and doing freelance stuff for other companies. And, oh, you guys knew I was working for Riot again. Okay, anyway. Maybe some of you did. We'll talk more about that later. But anyway, so 90% of my life is spent here, doing the comic, doing freelance work, drawing things, shooting the videos for the Daily and the Thoughtful Thursday. And I actually don't get outside a lot. But I want to urge you guys that you need to enjoy more of, you know, what is outside, whether you just go for a walk. I love the fact that I live right next to a grocery store, and I can walk right over there. I call it my extended fridge, right? If I'm out of something in the fridge, I just walk down the street a little ways, grab something, bring it back. And I'm always amazed every time I step outside just to enjoy, I don't know, just what's out there. Or it's just like some grass, or like I walk through this barren like wasteland of a lot. It's just like some dirt and rocks and like some scraps of like some old car. And yeah, I can look at that and be like, man, that is so awesome. Just the way that it's like just sitting there, or just like that dirt or that grass, or, you know, this freaking alternator is just sitting in the ground over there. I think it's so cool. And yeah, I just take a moment to really just witness what life is, and witness where you are, and witness what's around you, as opposed to always just being stuck in your head about like, oh man, I gotta get that thing finished. Oh man, what's gonna happen if I don't? Oh, I'm gonna get fired, and then I'm gonna starve, and then I'm gonna be a hobo, and then I'm gonna have a lot of time to look around and enjoy the moment, because I'm gonna be outside because I don't have a house anymore. But you see how you get so sucked into your own little world that it's good to just sort of like let it go and finally just look around and just appreciate what's there. So that is going to wrap up enjoying the little things, which is also from Zombieland. That's rule number something from Zombieland, which is also a good movie. So, and who knows, it could have also been a great philosophical movie as well. So you guys take care of yourselves. Thanks again for joining me for Thoughtful Thursday. It's literally the morning right here. I was planning on recording these last night, but I just wasn't in the zone. I wasn't feeling it. So I said, all right, when I wake up today, I'm going to do it first thing in the morning. So I'm still kind of like, I got cobwebs in my freaking head right now. But thank you guys for joining me for a Thoughtful Thursday. And you guys take care. I'll see you guys next time. Till then, take care.